This is Karl Moore, talking management for the Globe Mail. Today I'm delighted to speak to INSEAD's Andrew Shipilov. So Andrew, you've been looking at networks and creativity. How are they linked?
I would say creativity simply cannot exist without the networks, because the image of somebody, an inventor or a creator sitting in the lab and sort of randomly picking the products, mixing them together and designing something magical does not represent the reality. In reality, creativity for the individual or for the organization depends on the social structure. And networks is the manifestation of a social structure. And as it turns out, creativity actually is being affected by the kind of ties people build throughout their careers, and that will be consequential for the creativity of their organizations. So creativity and networks are helpful for creativity because they channel information. You know what the others are doing. Thus, you can combine this information in different ways that others perhaps have not thought about.
How does your professional career affect your ability to contribute creativity to an organization?
Hey, Karl, if you change a job, for example, you work for one company, then you go work for another company. When you move to your new place of employment, you probably still have friends in the former job. And if your former employer is smart enough, they could actually exploit that. In other words, they could create conditions for which it would be actually interesting for people who are your former colleagues to stay in touch with you. And through this link, your former colleagues can see what their competitor is doing. And they could pay more attention to what's going on in that organization. And by going elsewhere, you're creating something which we call a bridging tie between two firms. And the more bridging ties the firm has, connecting it to the external environment, the more feelers it has, the more understanding the firm has about what's going on in the world. So one of the studies I have done is looking at how fashion houses in the global fashion industry can benefit from losing people. And what we find is that, in fact, when they lose people to competition, they can receive information from competition through those bridging ties. And as a concrete example, let's say you're the fashion house which lost two designers to two other fashion houses. In one fashion house, now designers draw inspiration from Russian art. In another fashion house, they draw inspiration from Chinese art. If you know about those things, as the fashion house which lost two people to these two fashion houses, you say, aha, perhaps I could draw inspiration from a combination of Russian art and Chinese art, and I could create some products which combine Russian and Chinese motifs into the clothing. Now, mind you, this is not competitive espionage. This is just understanding what's going on around you and trying to get insights and get ideas as to what things could I combine to become creative.